Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Housing Authority of Travis County to order. The time is 9:30 a.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Chair Cheryl Brown.
Present.
No.
Vice Chair Cheryl Brown.
Present.
Chair Jimmy Taylor.
Present.
Commissioner Wilmer Roberts.
Here, we have a quorum.
Okay, item 2, public forum citizen communication. Is there anyone here desiring to discuss or comment on items directly related to HATC?
So Michaela, what you do is read off the members in order, the ones that signed up.
Okay, perfect. So Miranda O'Brien from Boston, Austin. 3 months. And Gabriella from Boston, Austin as well.
So in the interest of time, everybody will be allotted 3 minutes. Okay,
We have a new little
Just
setup,
step
so if
forward,
you sit on
whoever
that,
you'd
right there. Yeah, perfect.
Good morning.
good morning.
My name is Miranda O'Brien. I'm an organizer with BOSTA, and I've been working with tenants who live at the duplexes at Carson Creek since January. Over the last 3 months, I've spoken to 10 of 16 households that make up Carson Creek. At first, tenants reported that they had been living without necessary repairs for an extended period of time. They invited us into their homes and pointed out issues like rotting cabinets, appliances that did not work, and accessibility issues. After conditions at Carson Creeks were discussed at Commissioners Court meeting on January 25th, tenants began to report that HATC staff were visiting homes to document repairs. When repairs started, residents were both shocked and excited that work was being done. Over the last 2 months, this excitement has turned into frustration and exhaustion. The repairs seem to be halfway done, with some tenants having all repairs completed and some only having received basic fixes. The current issues which tenants are reporting are the prioritization of certain repairs over others, being told that maintenance is waiting on quotes, and the overall lack of communication. This is especially true for tenants who are told that they would need to be temporarily relocated for a month, while major repairs were done in their home. Tenants are getting mixed messages, no timelines or logistical information, and little follow-up from Carlton staff. When tenants inquire about the process, they are simply told that they will get the information soon. Yesterday, I spoke with 2 different tenants. One told me that they heard the relocation was no longer happening. Another wanted to know if BOSTA knew what was going on because they had not heard back from anyone at Carlton. As a result of this uncertainty, tenants have missed important life events like birthdays and doctor's appointments. The tenants that I spoke to yesterday wanted us to relay these issues to you, but they asked us not to share their names or addresses publicly out of fear of retaliation or further delay in these necessary repairs. I've attended the past few board meetings and heard you all state your commitment to improving the lives of residents at Carson Creek. I've also heard staff report back on progress that is being made, and while it is true that there have been some improvements, the job is far from done. There is a discrepancy between the reports that Carlton staff have been sharing with you all and what tenants are experiencing. We realize that without the names of these tenants we spoke to, it will be harder to follow up to resolve the issue. But this fear speaks to a lack of trust that you all need to repair. Tenants at Carson Creek deserve better and are relying on you to ensure that all the units are properly fixed and that staff is properly communicating with them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Good morning.
Good morning.
Sure.
Ready?
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Gabby Garcia. I'm an organizer with BOSTA. I'm reading this on behalf of a tenant who couldn't be here in person. My name is Vicki Brown. I live at 9502 Night Star. I've lived here for 10 years. I wrote this statement because I want the board to know that just because I live in subsidized housing doesn't mean that I don't deserve a nice home too. These homes need an upgrade. Upgrades will uplift this community and make us feel like we have something special to come home to. It's unfair that we're told that we'll get repairs done and then they never came or called back. People also show up without letting us know that they're coming first. This happens often and we're tired of people just showing up at our door without notice. We should also be told when someone is coming so that we can make plans. If we tell them it's not a good time, they get angry with us, even though it's not our fault. I have so many things that I need repaired. I need to get the chimney fixed. I have to put a towel over it just to breathe. I want to be comfortable and able to turn on my water and have hot water every time. I've reported the water issues and it always breaks even after they say it's fixed. I just want a nice place to live. I do see that they're doing some improvements, and some things are better, but there's still a lot more to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so what we're going to do is skip over action item number 4 to go to action item 5A, which is the HATC missions and values discussion with members of the Travis County Commissioners Court. Somebody want to make a motion to go into executive session?
I so move.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It started.
It's ready.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Housing Authority of Travis County back to order. The time is 10:37 a.m. And what we're going to do is jump around a little bit for the people who are online so that they can dispense with their reports and we can let them go. So what we're going to do is go to item 6, E, which is Human Resources Organizational Development, HATC Foundation.
Okay, and we'll be pulling up that report, but let me share that we did get the report from Big Austin. It should be in front of you, a hard copy. Let me just provide a general brief overview. So we've been working very closely with them to help relative to supportive services, as you all know, under the guise of the HATC Big Austin Collaborative. So what I'm going to do is allow Stephanie Douglas with Big Austin to just provide some context as to some of the things that we've been working on in particular and some of the things that we're looking forward to here in the future. So with that, Stephanie.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm glad to be here. As you see on our report, we started in July, and I think that we've really started developing some traction. We have 4 major events that are going to be planned. Our next one is Earth Day that I'm really excited about because we're going to get all of the residents of all your properties as well as voucher holders. We're having it at the East Metropolitan Park, and it will be not only a wellness, but a sustainability and gardening. For some reason, the gardening class that we did in the fall was really a big success. And so we're bringing that back in, I believe, April, the end of April. So we're excited about that. We've also kind of done some outreach a little differently to the properties. We've really had a lot of traction with the voucher holders. We have had some stumbling when it comes to the individuals within each of your communities. What we did is that we sent out emails, and then I had Chezzy, and I'm sorry she couldn't be here today. She's on vacation, so I wasn't going to make her zoom in. But we asked her to go out and do some door knocking. I did hear the group that talked to you about that. And so if we did anything that, because we were knocking on their doors and saying, do you have time to speak? What we're trying to do is get how we can best communicate with them, because some of the emails were bouncing back. We didn't have really good email addresses or telephone numbers. And so I wanted to really reach them as they are part of what we're supposed to be providing for services as well. In terms of, we also went out to, not only did we go to Carson Creek, we also went out to Manor and talked to the seniors there. They were lovely. We are trying to get them more involved. We are having at the Manor Community Center, we are doing, if you can, would you like me to? Thank you. We are having a food drive there for them, as well as just game playing and trying to get some community within that community. They actually have a wonderful program because I don't know if you know this, but there's a nonprofit that goes there twice a week and picks them up and takes them to HEB and takes them out. So we're happy to, and we have been partnering with them. We're happy to be partnering with them. Our financial literacy, we're doing, of course, that's our standard every month. And that becomes, we're doing a spending plan and understanding your credit. We're still diving into that because as you know, that's really as we move people out and into self-sufficiency, understanding credit and understanding how to budget is imperative. Again, we're going to be doing some additional classes. One is going to be, we're going to do seniors and juniors. We're hoping to have them go to a couple of ACC and a actual university to do a tour to expose them to what opportunities there are. We also sent out already the scholarship applications. A little disappointed. We have not received any applicants back. And so we're trying to figure out why that is. Again, I think it is not having the right email and contact information. And so we are again working on that. And then we did Amplify Austin, which they've changed because Amplify Austin now is a year, not just 2 events. And so they're doing it yearly. So we're going to be coming up 2 more fundraising initiatives that we're going to be doing with them. We were excited that a private donation came in for $1,900 to the foundation. So it's first time around, I think we were happy. And then there's another initiative that I don't know if you're familiar with, but we are going to include, and I can explain this more, but we are going to include HATC in our climate change grant application in a partnership with a couple of other nonprofits, but we want to utilize the Austin properties for this. And that's going to be happening. I'll have more information in the next 2 weeks or so. But what that initiative is that it's focusing on indoor quality and then microgrids through the solar power. And those are all, it's the federal grant, that initiative that then your properties will be included on that. And again, we'll have more information on what that is. And that's kind of what I have right now. I'd love to answer any questions or.
If I may,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
please.
Appreciate all of this, and this is all good stuff, but my concern is that we're hearing reports from BOSTA, and that's what, in my opinion, what I think that you all was hired to do and bring back reports, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I don't hear anything but, you know, positive stuff, but if BOSTA can go out and find those residents that are having issues, and we'd like to know about it from your staff.
There was some feedback that was, it was, I think they're frustrated. I think we were there, when we came in, first of all, we tried to get the emails and phone numbers for them, and it was kind of difficult to do that. And so, like I said, Chesney went out and we brought a survey with us and we knocked on all the doors. I think that what I heard before from BOSTA was that people were there before us, which we were unaware of. So I think by the time that we got there, there might have been already people ahead of us. And so when we were trying to get the information, there was some hesitancy, and there was, you know, this is about relationship building. They talked about things that were being fixed, but they weren't completely fixed. And so I kind of understand where BOSTA was saying. I think the communication between us and Carlson might be, and I don't know if it's on our end. I had reached out a couple of times. I think that we could probably do better with our communication and working together. We were able to speak to about half of the residents. We left the survey. We also taped it to all the doors, asked them to follow up. They did not. We went back out there and were unable. Some did not even want to answer the door. A couple didn't want us to come in to see their units. We did send a report in to Patrick. regarding what we found there?
Yeah, so let me just, you know, one of the things that if I were to trade hats, right? And put myself in the place of one of the residents that's there. And I am being bombarded with all of these different entities that's coming to talk to me. I would eventually shut off as well. So you have, you know, essentially we have 3 different entities, and you can't stop anybody from talking to whoever they want to talk to, right? But I think that, you know, Boston is going to be Boston. We appreciate the role that they serve. I think that the role that Boston serves is important in terms of making those tenants feel comfortable and feel like, you know, somebody cares about what's going on in their lives, and there's a role that Boston plays that I think that's really critical. I also think that aside from all of that, those properties are owned by, you know, HATC. So in my opinion, you know, I don't think that anything should really trump the communication that HATC has with those tenants, because, you know, they are under obligation to provide whatever feedback that they have to its owners, which is, you know, which is us. And so there has to be a level of prioritization so that you're not going out as Big Austin and, you know, having to fill the role that we have actually paid Carlson to actually do. But what I would expect is not so much that the report should come from you, because I think that, you know, it needs to be clear to the tenants who Carlton Companies is, right? And, you know, having any communication and rolling up reports and that sort of thing is something that I believe rests in the onus of the people that we've actually hired to do that job. And I don't expect Big Austin to replace what's going on with Carlson. But I do think that there needs to be a marriage between Big Austin and Carlton Companies. And so with Carlton Companies taking the lead, I think that is important for them to come back, and there needs to be a joint meeting between, you know, HATC, which is, you know, that part arm that's actually being managed by Carlos, representatives from Carlton Companies, and then representative from Big Austin. And I would expect that Big Austin would look to, if there's something, not so much with the structural part or anything like that, but more of, you know, the needs of those people in providing, you know, some of the softer things. I mean, we don't expect you to go and look at the properties and come back and say, that's Carlton's job. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're hired to do. But if they're in need of certain things, certain items, or what, you know, things that you guys do within the umbrella of Big Austin, then we would be looking for you to come back to us and say, you know, these people need food, or they need, you know, linen, or they need, but those are the type of needs that I would expect to hear back from you all. And I don't think that, you know, this is just me. I think that it's good if you are, you know, getting input from the community relative to their physical needs, personal needs, that type of thing. But structural things, I don't think that's the role that you should serve, and that's the role that you should play. You know, that's my opinion, right? And I think that it becomes overwhelming when you get all these different entities that's knocking on a door and wanting to talk to people, wanting to go in. I would close my door on you too, right? I'm just saying, you know, it's overwhelming, you know, and all of a sudden, this is come into play over the last, 4 to 5 months, that you get this constant churn of people wanting to see what's going on. So I want to assure the community that this is a property that we've looked at. This was a property that was given to HATC as a gift, and that gift brought with it other things that need to be taken care of, and those things are being taken care of. So in terms of communicating with them, we understand that there is a process to be followed. If the residents there, the tenants there are expecting that things are going to happen in 24 hours or 25 days or 30 days, then that expectation needs to be set. It needs to be clear to them what the process is that we're following. That's powerful.
Couldn't all go right.
But I think that they need to understand what that process is, and we need to level set the expectation. And I would encourage them, when we're communicating with them, to dial into the board meetings and hear what's actually being said, so they will know what it is that's going on. But no, I don't expect Big Austin to report on things that Carlton companies should be reporting on. But I do hope that, like I said, there's a marriage between, there's a triangle, right? HATC on one side, Carlton Properties on the other, and Big Austin on the other. So, you have the structural stuff that's actually being addressed by Carlton, the physical needs and other personal type needs that's being addressed by Big Austin. That's how I see the triangle fitting.
And I agree with what Cheryl has said, but also you go to the doctor for a cold, and the doctor examines you or walks in and looks at you, and he determines that there's something else wrong. So what I'm hearing is, if you're doing an active communication role with the residents and including those residents in a regular conversation, then we need to know about it if you determine something and see something. You can walk into a house or visit a person and at least discover that there may be a need. If there's a need, we want to know about it. And of course, costs need to be notified, as Cheryl indicated, as well as Carlos. And we expect that back to the board, from the board on a regular basis.
Okay, so in the interest of time, if there's anything else you want to say, Stephanie, otherwise we're good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Stephanie.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Now we're going to move back to 6B, affordable housing programs. Carlos.
So let's pull up the package. No, I'm sorry. The 30 days, yes. Carlos asked her in the interest of time, because Kristen been on and Ashley been online for a while. We give them an opportunity, you provide your overview and give them an opportunity to speak as well. Okay.
I thought it was maybe their staff names.
We're ready.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Now I know that possibly both Ashley as well as Kristen, they may not be able to speak. I'm sorry, just for time's sake. They do have a couple of other meetings. Hopefully they do get to speak here shortly. But for the affordable housing program, we at the on-site team, they're actually in the process of hiring both the manager as well as an assistant manager. Carlton right now does not have one at the properties, although they do have someone that's stationed there temporarily to assist with all these needs. Kristen as well has been on site as well. She's the regional manager there. So they're helping keeping operations running in the meantime. I'm assisting them with the bigger projects, of course, finalizing the TDACA's construction deficiencies, as well as with the Carson Creek's renovation project in the meantime. But these are the three main focuses that are happening for the affordable housing program this for the next 30 days.
Okay.
Let me also jump in. We asked Carlton companies to provide us with some context related to Maynardtown and the plan. So what I have is a copy of that. Carlos provided a copy of the findings that Carlos, if you could just briefly go through that. You should have it in front of you. So if you can go through that briefly, or if the folks online, are they online still? I thought I saw them.
Yes.
Let me send a message. Hey, Ashley and Kristen, are you still there?
Ashley's on, yeah, they're both on.
Yeah, hi, good morning. I only have about 2 minutes. I'm gonna run into another meeting that I've already pushed. But Kirsten actually has the plan pulled up because I'm remote at the moment. Kirsten, do you want to speak to the Maynardtown initial lease up plan for contacting Maynardtown 1?
There's 2 pages, Maynardtown 1 and Maynardtown 2.
Absolutely.
got
Good morning, everybody.
It's a 1 and 168.
Okay.
So we have prepared a proposed lease up plan for Maynardtown 2. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we are preparing for our lease up at Maynardtown 2. Notification to current Maynardtown residents. This is going to be the lottery pool that we are going to prepare for the current tenants at Maynardtown. Number 1, we're going to notify current Maynardtown residents of projected rents for Maynardtown 2 by May 1st. Number 2, we're going to give them 30 days to notify management of interest to relocate and submit a pre-application. Number 3, Carlton will review all pre-applications submitted to determine qualification status by May 15th. Number 4, we are going to pre-approve the residents, and those will be entered into that lottery pool and added to a preferred list. And then number 5, residents will be notified by Carlton management on or before June 1st of acceptance or continued placement on that preference list. Below, we have the projected rents that Ashley and Ben worked on yesterday evening as well. I'm not sure if y'all have a copy of this to see
Yeah,
in
we
front
do.
of you.
Yes.
Okay,
We do.
perfect. So do y'all have any questions on the proposed rents that Ashley and Ben have placed on this lease up plan?
No.
Okay, perfect. And then marketing, we are going to advertise on affordablehousing.com. We're going to add the Maynardtown 2 to that HATC website. We are also going to promote on our social media outlets and then promote resident referrals.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay.
Yeah, we just wanted you to know, a lot of interest in the part of the Maynardtown residents, so.
So you're gonna
we
do a lottery,
provided-
you're gonna do a lottery for your existing tenants.
That is correct,
Yeah.
yeah, as she pointed out, and give them a period of time to be able to both express interest and to pre-qualify essentially, and then once we exhaust that list, then we would go through and actually move on to the balance. Of the population.
So in terms of the notification, is there a plan to have like a meeting of some type with the residents versus just sending a communication?
Kristen, is it Ashley or Kristen?
Kristen.
Kristen, can you speak to that?
We have not thought about that process just yet. So we'll get with Ashley and Ben to see what's going to be best for those current tenants.
Yeah, I would propose that we not just rely on
Sure.
just written communication, that we have a designated time where we meet with the residents, we share the information, we allow them to be able, to ask questions and answer questions, especially when it comes, because I don't want there to be any confusion in terms of what the expectation is of rent and, what it is that they get. I just think that if we're gonna do it, then verbal communication of some type should be provided.
Absolutely.
Okay, anything else for Carlton or Carlos?
I do wanna, I don't know if I missed it, but what is the current state of providing or identifying the contractor to do the repairs at Carson Creek?
Sure. Actually, by the end of today, I should be finalizing the description of items that is required for the RFP that we're gonna be posting up on the website again. And I've already notified all of the contractors that have already submitted a request for review about that. So by tomorrow, most likely, I'll submit it over to Patrick for review or final reviews before posting it up there. We'll leave it up there for about a week or so, and then we'll have them bid on the updated RFP.
So just so I'm clear, you sent out an initial RFP. You got a lot of generalized all over the board bids back.
Correct.
You now have a clear and concise list of the things that need to be fixed that you're going to post,
That's right.
right? And then you're gonna let whichever contractors submit something within 30 days, submit it,
Correct.
if that's the whole deal.
Right.
Okay. So does it cover line by line what's needed? How big of a document are we talking about?
It's an Excel spreadsheet that I have. I haven't finalized it yet. I'm still working on it. I'm about 85% done or so on it.
Okay,
But it is quite, it goes line by line item on.
how many items? Just ballpark it.
Hold on a second, let me pull this up real quick.
I just want to make sure you get back.
Sure, as
A-
of right
a-
now, I
a
have
bid.
37 line items.
How many?
37 line
Okay.
items, still working on it though, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then the other thing is, the question that I have in addressing something that, the Boston representative spoke to is what communication have we provided to the residents at Carson Creek to let them know, what's happening and what they can expect and
Yes.
when they can expect it.
As of in March, actually, I met with all the residents on March 15th. I went on site and I knocked on everybody's door. I did talk to all the household members there. I let them know exactly in person what the proposed plan was gonna be. I gave them an estimated timeline, although I just kept them updated with what's going on, especially with with what Tom, our current contractor, is doing, completing some of the tasks at hand there, as well as gathering any work orders for me to submit over to Carlton so that maintenance can take care of those. And I have a template that I printed out. I provided over to the tenants so that they can write those work orders for us so that we can go out there and complete all of those.
Okay.
And did you provide as a follow-up, just documentation, like send out a generalized email to just have it in writing so that nothing is lost in translation?
I have not, but I can.
Yes, would you please do that? Because a lot of times people hear what they want to hear. And, there's nothing like something in black and white.
Agreed. I think, and to be honest, so Carlson Company does have, an online site for maintenance requests, but we have elected to print copies of requests for them to fill out and to periodically do the rounds in terms of collecting those, because we found that in some cases, it's just more efficient. So as it relates to the correspondence that you're suggesting, we should send that about an email, but we should also do the door-to-door as we have been doing.
Absolutely.
Because that is absolutely the best
conjunction.
way to get connected. We actually we have they said 16, we actually have 15, one of the units are vacant, so there's actually only 15 families.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to encourage communication at the height. You need to be interacting with those folks as well as whatever issues that you want communicated and can't communicate. Either get Big or Carlton to work with it. That triangle should consistently be working and everything should come back to you.
Yes.
With reports, okay?
Yes, sir.
But I do want it to be clear in the communication that their primary stream of communication is with HATC.
Yes.
Because we're the ones that will address their problems. Even if they report problems to Boss isn't responsible for getting them fixed.
Correct.
It's that responsibility rests with HATC, and
That's
that
right.
needs to be clear.
Yes.
So if they have anything that they really want addressed, it has to come through HATC.
So let me mention one other thing, because of the delay in the RFP and rightfully so, to make sure it's thorough. We've pulled out some items that were identified in work orders, you know, all those that have been collected to date from various sources, and we've moved forward with addressing those. So the first thing you saw was pictures of those decks that needed to be fixed. And then there was the ADA compliance issues that you saw, or safety issues. So those, I moved forward and approved the contract that we had on retainer to go ahead and do that work.
Yeah.
So 2 units needed foundation work. That work is in process.
Yes, sir.
And then one of those decks, I think, associated with one of those foundations.
Mhm.
So I essentially said, let's move forward with this work as we're contemplating selecting someone to do the more long-term work that is necessary. So the cleaning of the debris and the, you know, the removal of the refuse and bulk items, you know, that
I
work is
think that's
going on.
excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I, one of the things that, you know, as you compose your email, to communicate to them what HATC is doing, I think that, you know, it would benefit us for them to understand what our priorities are, right? And the priorities that we put in place first, addressing any ADA issues, anything that could cause injury, you know, from the outside, cleaning up, whatever, all of the things that you talked about. I just think it needs to be clear
Yes.
to them that we have placed a level of prioritization over, you know, on some tasks over others.
Okay.
And, you know, this is the phase, these are the phases in which we're going to be working.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Do you need any motion or anything
No,
to take care of that or something?
This is just-
all.
yeah. This is just a report. Okay. All right, now we are going to jump to the consent agenda. Item 3, approval of the minutes from the March 7th, 2024 meeting. So I have a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the March 7th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
A second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Uh,
Motion passes. Okay, item number 4 is a resolution number HATC -2024-06 to approve the termination of the interlocal agreement with the SHFC. In your packets is a legal opinion about the termination of this agreement. This is something we've discussed on a prior basis, and now with the full separation of HATC and SHFC, I think it's timely that we terminate the interlocal agreement. Do you want to add anything, Patrick?
Sure. So as suggested, we did get a legal opinion that spoke to everything from the ability to terminate the interlocal to the potential concerns about financial implications of such. And so that's what's outlined in the legal opinion. I am sorry, I don't know if I put it in this draft of the packet, but so a letter is prepared on the chair's behalf to send to leadership at SHFC, now acknowledging or notifying them of the intent to terminate, and that has a 90-day window. The language suggests that if they so chose to move that time frame up, they certainly can do so. So what would likely happen is they would receive correspondence back from them, knowledge and such, and work through that process.
Right.
But it does notify them that, you know, the window, as per the interlocal says, once notifying him that it'll be effective as of 90 days.
And I think we discussed this on the phone too, but I'd like a copy of this legal opinion sent as an addendum.
Attached,
Yes, please.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I move that we accept resolution number HATC 2024-06.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, on to item 5. We've already done A, B, which is Carlos, you just did that. C is discussion of commissioner training and education. Patrick.
Yes, okay, so as you know, you had Mr. LaMagna here last month, and I thought he did an excellent job despite some of our communication challenges with talking about commissioner do's and don'ts. We did follow up with him, and discussed, we brainstormed some ideas about how we should move forward. We came to the conclusion that what should happen is probably what would we would like to a commissioner handbook, essentially with documents that would include everything from the bylaws to Robert's Rules of Order, ethics, and the like. Similarly, we, as per Mrs. Brown recommendation, we spoke to Ms. Kennedy to discuss the idea of amending the bylaws. She may be on the line today, but if not, she was. Okay. She said she wanted to sit in on a little bit of the meeting to see how you all interact. So we had a couple discussions about such. We feel comfortable moving forward with that. So we will engage her formally to help with that, and then you all will get some correspondence about, you know, what would be the best process in terms of getting your feedback and input. What she says is that she wants to make sure that things that are included are things that you believe are priorities and of the organization. But we have a pretty good handle on the way to move forward. We also talked about policies and procedures. What I was going to recommend was that we move forward with and this was also with Mr. LaMagna, having a board retreat. To have a retreat so that we can get feedback from you all about all those things that we talked about, from ethics to everything else, to make sure that we are capturing that, and then we will figure out the best person to be able to produce that in draft, whatever component of that. So we're looking at a compendium of policies and procedures that would essentially find itself in one document, which is a handbook, which obviously you can plug and play in terms of what was included. So that is my recommendation for how we move forward collectively in terms of the overall goal.
Okay.
And portion, is there not, of all the housing authorities in the country, is there not a sample handbook that we can look at it? I'm not saying that
No.
that she shouldn't write it, but you can give a draft of something of that nature to
Yeah.
comparisons to.
Sure. So I've been here almost 9 years. We've been looking for those kinds of things. I think we find bits and pieces of things that we believe should be included. So no housing authority centric. Normally the state agency will have something. THA has some good commissioner training. So what we're looking at is probably, you know, sort of an amalgamation of things that we're seeing from other places. HUD has Leading the Way, which you all may have participated in. It's online training for commissioners. Some of you gone through. FADA has some training that we put together. So I haven't seen one that I feel like is comprehensive, that drills down to the housing authority specifically. It's more like these are general things that a housing authority should do and act. But most of them are coming from a state agency. But interestingly enough, Texas doesn't have one per se. At least I've never come across one, but we've been looking. So Mr. LaMagna felt very comfortable about, you know, sort of helping facilitate, you know, staff will do most of the legwork and pulling those together. But we thought that a retreat would be helpful to just kind of sit down, talk about priorities, goals, things like that, so we can sort of capture that all in, you know, one setting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what we're edging towards here is creating the table of contents that we would like for
That's
just
correct.
an overall. But the question on the table is, who do we hire to do that? Or do we hire 2 people, or do we just hire one?
Yeah, so Ms. Kennedy specifically, you know, we talked about 2 things that she feels very comfortable with doing. Of course, she can do a lot of things, but
Sure.
we were thinking that particularly the bylaws, because she was very much tuned in on what that should look like. And we talked about parliamentary procedures as well. We think she could advise us generally about some of the other things just based on her overall knowledge and experience about governance in general. Some of the more particular things related to housing authority do's and don'ts, which we feel like is important, would be Mr. LaMagna. So he would kind of be the overall sort of consultant on that item, and then we have.
He would be like a subset.
Right,
Yeah,
correct, specifically for some specific tasks that we see her best suited for.
Okay, and in that also regards, could can we prepare a list for, requirements for the potential appointees that,
For the new commissioners?
yeah,
Yeah, so what I'll do is, with Michaela's help, well, Julie did send the, obviously the draft, application. And I think I sent it yesterday, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, okay, so I'm gonna expand on that and be able to let you all see that, and then before I send it back to her, and if you have comments as well, we'll go ahead and send that in terms of, but I know that's one of the things was requirements for commissioners, so I thought at a minimum, obviously, the Open Meetings Act training.
well, those kind of things that
Uh-huh.
we've seen through Prada and Naro in a
Yeah.
number of occasions of requirements and where commissioners can remove people for not attending meetings
I think
To-
those are things that will be added to our bylaws for sure, right?
well, yeah, but the commissioners court is the only one that can
Yeah,
eliminate it.
but I think the recommendation of, identifying what the requirements are and being clear on, why we're making recommendations to the commissioners court is something that we're lacking right now in our bylaws. So just the clauses that associated with, a board member being removed from their position is not, it's just not present
Yeah.
today.
For training and attendance, those two things.
Right, so there's two things you're talking about. One is the bylaws, which would be a little more expansive. The other part is some requirements that you want to ensure that there's an understanding of the new commissioners that they are expected to.
Well,
do.
existing commissioners too.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, for the purposes of the getting back to
Yeah.
IGR.
Yeah, I just think the document itself, the handbook, could also spare you so many headaches
Absolutely.
coming into this. And
Yeah.
if we're able to accomplish something like that, that you can have as transient board members move off,
Right,
you'd have a real asset for working with whoever the next group of people up here is.
sure.
And
So-
it should be in the form of a resolution to the commissioners of the court, so they adopt it, so they understand what we're recommending.
Yeah.
Right.
So
You're talking about subsequent to the handbook being produced.
yeah,
Right, right.
Okay, so just with respect to, be clear, so there are a couple of things that we talked about that in the meeting, with, commissioners, a little while ago, that we wanted to make sure that they got certain training and
yeah.
as a requirement, and one was the Open Meetings Act, which I actually think the county, that might be the requirement.
It's a
It
requirement.
is a requirement. It
Yeah.
is. We all had to
So
do
the
it.
other one that I thought about was, HUD has this very comprehensive thing called Leading the Way, and it's all it's all online. And it's very thorough and comprehensive, if you all haven't seen it, but I think that would be a good requirement for them to complete that.
Yeah.
As for training.
I mean, I don't want to linger too long on this at all, but I just think that the wealth of information that comes to you when you first are here and
Yeah.
that they're trying to absorb what's important gets lost because there's too much information.
Right.
And so a smaller, tighter handbook with with the principal things that you're going to be dealing with is,
Sure.
at least that's what I'm trying to get us to.
Yeah,
Not a 200-page document.
gotcha.
Okay, anything else on this?
Can we envision having a retreat maybe in the next couple of months? And one, do you want to wait until you get the new commissioners, or which was not the recommendation of Mr. Lamagna or Ms. Kennedy? They thought you should move forward. So I'm just letting you know, but so that would mean we would be able to do this within the next month or so.
Okay, that's fine. Within the next couple of months. So let's just say before June.
Okay, right.
And we're talking like about a day long retreat,
no,
or
probably 3 hours, like
Okay.
like 9 to noon or something like that. Maybe with concluding at lunch would be the end.
or
I
during,
think-
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Okay, so we'll follow up with some times.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's okay. Item D, October, the never ending October seventeenth,
Yeah.
2023 meeting minutes.
Okay, so you all did get, and I think we even have in the packet, we did get a legal opinion as requested, about that, about the issue relative to the meeting and the minutes. And you should, it's from Andrew Clark with Naaman Howell.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you had any questions about that, but essentially it says
Let's
the
bury it.
issue is moved. We've moved on.
The issue is concluded.
Yes,
Move on from
Yeah,
that.
we're good. We're good.
okay.
All right. Item 6, CEO Executive Director's Report, vouchers.
Okay, so Christina's actually at a training, so I'm gonna just refly exception and we'll pull that up, hopefully. They've been working very feverishly. Mikhail, could you do it? Okay.
You got a 20.
They've been working very feverishly on trying to close out the COC grants. We've had some challenges with. If you understand this, you have to project, do good projections when you talk about grants in order to sort of make sure that you don't overspend, but there's also the issue of not spending enough, which has an effect on future grants. So we're having some challenges there, quite frankly, relative to what that looks like. But we're really working hard at trying to figure out how to accomplish that. So, could we, okay, yeah. So again, with the special purpose vouchers, there are some inherent inherent challenges just with the special populations, but we're, working hard at trying to continue to maximize the utilization of what that looks like. And then we talked about the continuum of care grant just a second ago, relative to trying to ensure that we can come more into compliance with what we have available in terms of funding versus what we are actually projecting in terms of the expenditures. On a sadder note, Olivia, who you all got familiar with, get very comfortable with, and who was very much our first social worker working with the program, is moving to Colorado. Unfortunately, but she has left us in a very good place. So we will be working at replacing her in the near future.
Okay.
And then we're working on putting a handbook together for landlords. It'll also be on the website. We got some ideas from some other entities about, better ways to outreach to landlords, which is, we should never get enough of.
Okay.
Too much of. So that's Christina's report in a nutshell.
Any questions?
The only thing, we had a lot of discussion, I guess, the last month about identifying the frequency of validating the voucher.
Yes, that is correct. And she and I have been talking about that. She has something that she is going to produce for us, because we talked about how, what that looks like. And we do have data, and I apologize. But I will send that to you. It's going to be a memo to discuss how we ensure that standards are being upkept and met, throughout the year, despite the annual inspections and the ability to have special inspections, because we know that is a concern. So I apologize for that, but we'll send that to you, a summary and we can continue that discussion next month.
Right, and I would like it to be something that's actually presented, because I want it to be on record.
Okay.
And recorded, so people could hear it and see it, and not just be in the form of.
Okay, so we'll add it as an item then. We'll add it as a discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, will do.
Okay. Let's see. Skipping affordable housing programs, we're going to 6, item C, real estate development. Did we already cover this, Maynardtown?
Part of it.
Okay.
I think, for the most part, really it deals with Eastern, Carson, and Maynardtown Phase 2. At Eastern Oaks, of course, we're addressing and finalizing those final construction deficiencies over at Carson Creek. We're continuing working out there, as I stated a while ago. And then on Maynardtown 2, I will continue monitoring the progress of how they're doing as of today. They are 63.37% completed overall. And I will also be attending those draw inspections as well.
When is the final construction supposed to be completed?
By the 25th of April.
No,
Really?
the work being
60% complete.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
final
I know
construction
that's what-
deficiencies. I got those confused. I'm sorry. I'm honestly, we have it projected for August.
correct.
But I don't have an exact date to provide right now.
Okay.
So it will be completed in August.
Yeah.
Okay.
You start taking applications in May?
So that's what the ladies from Carlton were talking
Yeah.
about in terms of the process.
Right.
So we're gonna prioritize with the current Maynardtown residents in terms of who's interested
Right.
and who qualifies. And then from their point, we will open it up to the broader public.
Okay.
So that'll be a iterative process, but it'll start with the Maynardtown residents, current Maynardtown residents being priority.
And parking is gonna be adequate and.
Oh,
and
yes.
the roads in and out. 'Cause
So we
that was
own the
a-
alley, between the two, so parking's pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Item D, Subra.
Good afternoon. I'm just gonna brief by exception. The finance report was, I think it was printed out and given.
Yeah.
to you. I really don't have anything to highlight on there. Next month, there will be some descriptive information of what transpired at the year end. Some items, we needed to record. I did write it up this month, but it just didn't get into the board packet.
They have a hard copy of it in front of them.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I will expand on it next month. So we did get the audit report for Sea Oaks. It was finalized. The report was issued. So we are still working on the HATC and the strategic report. So it should be forthcoming in the coming months.
I just have one question, line item question on total expenses.
Mhm.
For TCFC. So is this all for Maynardtown? Like the 620 for year to date, the actual from February,
Let me see.
spent 620,000?
You are looking at QCFC?
Yeah,
QCFC 620,000. Let me go to it.
that just seemed like a bigger outlay to me, so I was curious.
QCFC. 620,000, that's because half of everything that we collect under TCFC goes to the set aside fund. So I'm showing that half. as
You're
an
showing that
expense.
half going to the fund. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it's as an expense, and then, of course, we are contributing, TCFC is contributing to HATC.
You just show it as an expense to the,
Expense to-
yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good. Any other questions for Subra? Okay. Skipping item E, are there any board, on to item 7, are there any board committee reports? Okay, on to new and unfinished business. I have an item, Patrick, that is not here. That if you don't mind, if I proceed with it, it has to do with the internal investigation.
Oh, okay.
So in talking with the outside counsel,
Well, okay, yeah.
are you okay?
Sorry.
with that?
Yeah. I'm just, yeah.
In talking with the outside counsel that was hired to address the complaint made by you against Commissioner Weber, the report that we received is a privileged report, but what I've done is created a synopsis of what it says that I can convey here. And then at a later date, we're trying to determine where the report will be filed. But just, if you'll just bear with me, I'm just going to give you the basics. Our internal investigation concluded that Mr. Howard was subject to a verbally abusive and unprofessional atmosphere. There is no evidence to suggest that the motive for this abuse was anything other than political, an attempt to discredit Mr. Howard. While Mr. Howard was subjected to a hostile work environment, nothing was found to be legally actionable. The report makes a series of suggestions intended to avoid or allay any future disputes. These include limiting the interactions of the SHFC boards and HATCs. The performance evaluation of Mr. Howard should be conducted solely by the agency that employs him, HATC, and a clarification on what constitutes a quorum, and if any of the standards are not met, no official meeting should take place. And then the final recommendation was that a code of conduct be drafted for members of the HATC board. So that is, in a nutshell, what the report says. So I just wanted to clear that up, close that out. And, you know, if you have any questions or, you know, I'd be happy to answer those offline.
Yeah, I'd like to, in relation to that, and amend our bylaws to personnel files are privileged and only and not open to subject to the public. So we need to get that included in there. I would offer a motion for that to take place.
Okay, so I move that we amend our bylaws to address personnel files not being open to the public, but maintained within HATC.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, Patrick, CEO, employment contract performance measures. You want to talk about this?
I thought you were going to.
So Mr. Howard's contract is up for renewal. His current contract expires in December
2025.
of 2025. I am in touch with the people who drafted the amended version of your contract in 2018. And I also have your edits on file. What I would like to do is talk to the initial person who made the edits and then confer with my colleagues individually to sort of address the changes therein and how each board member feels about it, including the sort of consolidation of your role and the removal of all the SHFC references, which is, of course, fine. But it needs to be a process that I think should take place over the next few months. And then I think we can be back in touch about when to finalize it. Is that all right with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, item B, update on March 26, 2024, Travis County Commissioners Court.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to share that we got approval for 4 of the 4 PFC projects, workforce housing projects. Additionally, we got approval for a 4% deal as well. One of the 4% and a PFC deal was a joint deal that we're with NRP Group in Southeast Austin. So that was very exciting. Kevin, can you pull up the website right quick? So I wanted to show you all some. We worked very closely with Travis County on this to really try to make sure that our approach is seamless, and we're still working on that. So what we've done is we've taken the county's application and utilized that and put it on the website so that anyone applying, wanting to partner with us on a PFC deal would be actually providing the same information that they ultimately will need to gather for the county, so that it'll go to both of ours. It's a software called Smartsheet. But it's useful because we both are users, and that information will both go to them and to us at the same time. So again, to help the process be more streamlined and to help as developers are always asking, is to provide some idea about what the expectations are. So that's what we've done. Can you, are you able to pull it up, Kevin? No.
Which website were you referring to?
He knows the application, the TCFC application.
Are you,
But either way, I'm gonna keep talking. So,
yeah, are you aware of this, the BK area being?
yeah, so let me just tell you,
open? So how do we?
yeah,
approach
so the
that?
developer approached me
Mhm.
about BK, but they decided to create their own PFC.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so yes, we had been working to meet, and the last word I got was that they decided they were going to create their own. So they identified a parcel of land to do affordable workforce housing, and they were very excited about working with us. But they decided they realized, hey, we can do our own PFC. So
Sure.
it looks like that's what they're going to do. So yeah, but
Wouldn't they have to get this approved through the city of Austin?
It's the
BK?
city of BK, right?
No, it'd be a
Yeah.
city, so it'll be with
Like-
them, right? Yeah. Since they are incorporated.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's to no avail. But
Can you create a PFC just simply as that? You don't have to have a overlying agency?
so it has, so the statute allows municipalities to create PFCs.
Just a PFC, yeah.
Yes, and housing authorities, of course.
Yeah.
So, like Hawkeye, they do all their deals under their PFC structure. 4% is like we're doing now, and also PFCs, and there's a couple other kinds of deals that you can do under Chapter 392, but they're still under the PFC structure. So what we have here, just to show you, on the website, we have our standard terms. You keep going, Kevin, which is what we are requiring, and then keep going. So the application is the county's application. If you just click on number 2, right? So this is a application that the county uses. So subsequent to getting approval from us, this is the application that you would be required by the county to submit. But we're already collecting that information by virtue of them doing that with us. So again, a seamless kind of process. So it's not, they would be approved by us and then get to the county, and then there'd be other expectations about what the county wants.
Right.
So you can get out of that, Kevin. What we don't have just yet, and we're working on, is the 4% deals. In terms of what that looks like, there is something called resolution of no objection that's required. The county is, that application that they have will look very similar to that. They're not done yet, and then we'll have that information up as well on our website. So again, there'll be some expectation about what will subsequently be required by the county as well, even before they complete that application with us.
Okay.
So just while we're on the website, I just want to show you a couple other things. You go back to just doing business, TCFC, just go back.
And thanks for updating the website too.
Just go to the main TCFC spot. Okay, so we've been working on the website. Kevin has done a yeoman's job. So this information about what we do, just keep going. So I want to show you the statistics dashboard Kevin and I are working, say. Mainly Kevin, a little bit of me. But so we're working on a dashboard with projects that we are approved, kind of where they are in the process, that sort of thing. So it's kind of work in progress, and it'll be more specific as we get a little bit more closer to some of this work being done. But we split out PSH units in addition to the 60% units, 80% units, that sort of thing, and then kind of where we're on in the timeline. So to date, just go back, Kevin, we just 6,672 units that ideally we would be completing, if these all come to fruition. Obviously, some of them haven't closed with the financing and that sort of thing, but if they do to date, that's where we are.
And then one other question, since we were talking about this, last year we put forth a great deal of effort of trying to do different activities in the community.
Yes, we did.
The library things. Are we going to do something like that in 2024?
So we didn't have Big Austin, and when that concept came in my mind, so I'm trying to work with them to try to figure out how we work collaboratively on that, you know what I mean, to do that. So that's kind of where we are right now. And we're just kind of down one person. So we do want to continue re-engage with the community. And we're just trying to use maybe a different framework and construct for that. But that is our intent to you know, to do that and to try to codify it and formalize it and have it as an ongoing kind of a series and not just kind of, you know, so we're kind of evolving it, but we're kind of working on that.
Okay. All right, because we're in the second quarter, so.
I know.
I want to get some, you know, some action.
We are, yes. One thing while you're talking is kind of tangential to this, but so I went to a conference last week, a NARO conference, and there were testimonials from individuals that lived in public housing and who moved on and done great things. So there was one young lady who was the Waco Housing Authority who went to law school at University of Houston. And she likened her entire success on the college tours that she went on through the housing authority. So I was like, we got to do this. So we're working with Big Austin on making that a reality for us. So we're looking at maybe sophomore, juniors, and seniors for you know, upcoming future juniors and seniors to do a college tour. We're working with Big Austin to put that together.
Yeah, there's some churches also
Yes,
that also.
That you're correct. So there are some groups. 4-H actually has the cooperative extension does it. But we want to try to figure out, you know, a way to partner. So we're working with Big to figure out the best way to do that. But we want to try to have that happen and take that to scale and as early as this summer have our first, you know, HATC Foundation college tour.
So, and I think in conjunction with that, one of the things that Stephanie spoke about as well was they sent out emails requesting for applicants to, you know, scholarship applicants, right? And, you know, people get so much junk email.
They do.
That, you know, you get something and you're going to trash it. So we need to think of something that, you know, maybe we adopt a school or something, or something to that effect, to where we are actually reaching out to a designated audience to solicit, you know, applications or whatever, right? And it's something to think about, but I'm just saying that
Sure.
emails are not, it's just not the way.
Well, we have these units, these 105 units, and we need to identify those seniors that are in those.
Absolutely.
Because not only, but NARO and
That's correct. Claudia also has a
both,
scholarship.
they all both have scholarships that they give, and there's a application process. So call us, we need to try to identify those 16 to 18-year-old as soon as possible in our units.
Right, yeah, because I mean, I think we're gonna have to move beyond just, you know, emails. You just trash.
Emails and mail, trash mail.
Yeah, trash. So, okay.
Yeah, I think you're looking for a more effective way to target people who would be eligible for the scholarship, who live in our units.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emails are so passive.
Yeah.
They don't work.
They don't work.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, but
We got a social work that we're gonna be replacing, and then Michaela has been a young college graduate, can work with those young people too, so. Let's look into that too. I was always been disappointed that you get faces from all up north and everywhere, always winning scholarships, and nobody here in Texas, as big as Texas is, we can't get a scholarship for some of those kids.
Okay. Item 9, is there any need to go into executive session?
Already did.
Oh, could I mention one other thing? I'm sorry, on the new and unfinished business.
Yeah.
You don't mind. So Mr. Robinson and I are going to be attending the NARO conference next week, legislative conference, which includes going to the Hill and meeting your state and US senators and reps. So we will be doing that next week. He and I think, well, let me see, yeah. So we will.
In DC?
This in DC. Every year it's in DC, and the goal is obviously, other than the team building and the education, we reach out to members of the Hill and you know, FADA does that as well. They have their own version of it, but it's a very effective tool. We've been meeting to discuss the strategy. I'm supposed to speak about, you know, for sustaining affordable housing, that sort of thing, but there's different ones of us are going to be speaking on different topics. So that'll be next week. It'll be good session. So I always try to encourage folks to continue to participate.
And now that it mentions also, there's a group that usually go to Corning and Cruz and stuff like that, but I like to pull away and go to my individual representatives because Corning and Cruz, they send out a representative. They don't ever come talk to you personally. They'll send a staffer out and that I want to be able to rub and touch shoulders with. We'll be talking about. So if there's some concerns or questions or things interest you, let me know. So we'll spend that time doing visiting them. I think Wednesday is the day they set aside.
This Wednesday,
Okay.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah.
So you were in Egypt.
Yeah. Okay, no need for executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Great meeting.
Thank you.
Great meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. I was so pleased to see the commissioners. That was
Yeah.
a treat.
Yeah, did you get this?
Yeah.
Thing?
You got one more.
We all good? Okay. I just want to make sure.
Thank